when I was saying, what do you say to a person that does come to you and say, I do want to write? And you said the first thing you start talking about is distractions and not getting distracted. And
Exactly.
so, what are some of the other, yeah. So, talk about that. What are some of the other things? Because we need coaches. We need a
Well,
coach.
I,
And I
I
want them, well, first, they can go get your book. Tell them that they can go get your book.
yes, I have a book titled Starting Points for New Writers because where do I
Right.
start is the biggest question, and I have it over here on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest question that people ask when it comes to writing a book. Where do I start? So, in my coaching, what happens when people think about writing a book, they think about their life and then how am I going to cram my whole life into a book? Well, you don't need to do that. You need to think about targeting your book. You need to have some clarity. What is it you're trying to say? And who is it you're trying to reach? And then you need to think in terms of books, not book. Because if you have a lot to say, if you have multiple messages that you want to reach different target audiences, then you target like you maybe you were divorced. You want to target a book on divorce. Maybe you ran for mayor. You want to target a book about what it takes for that journey. You don't have to try to put everything, single detail in your life in one book. You can refer to them. And then when you write another book, people will say, oh, this is what she was talking about in the other book I read. So I tell people to get clarity, to get confidence, because you have to have some thick skin, because other people may not see the importance of your book. You have to understand your book is not for everybody. And those people that you wrote your book
Mm-hmm.
for will recognize this book is for me. So have some confidence, some clarity, and much determination because distractions will come. And the enemy will come to say, why does the world need another book? Look
Mm-hmm.
at all these books. You have to understand that, I wrote a book on forgiveness. It's my bestseller. And there's tons of books out there on forgiveness, but nobody can write my forgiveness book with my voice. Nobody can write whatever you want to say. Nobody can write it the way you do. And people can read 100 books on forgiveness, but they may not ever get it till they read mine because there's a people
Well,
waiting for what you have to say.
and so you said that was because this is one of my questions. You said that was your bestseller. What book did you enjoy writing the most, and why?
Hmm. Well, I have enjoyed writing all my books, I guess. I would say,
Hey, hey,
did you say something? I'm sorry. I was saying I have
no.
enjoyed writing all my books, but I guess my book on
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness, it's the most rewarding because I get so much positive
Mm-hmm.
feedback about how that has broken down heart issues and helped people to move forward. And I think forgiveness is the heart of God. It's like God
Right.
said, where there's unity, there's strength. And so the enemy says, where there's disunity, there's weakness. So he uses unforgiveness to
Mm-hmm.
produce weakness in ourselves and in our relationships. And God uses forgiveness to produce restoration. And it's the heart of God. So I really love the feedback that I get from that book.
So let me ask, since we're talking about, you said that was your number one seller. If people want to get your books,
Okay,
how do they get them?
my books are, all of them are available on Amazon, or you can go to
Mm-hmm.
my bookstore, which is IamAWriterNow.com, and that would take you directly to my online bookstore.
Okay. Have you ever started a book and decided this isn't the one that I need to do right now and just stopped?
Okay, I probably have about 30 books, 30 book ideals and portions of them done. And so my
Uh-huh.
challenge now, every time I get ready to write a book, it's like, okay, should I be writing this one or the other one? So now I'm just trying to make myself focus on the book, and that's the Holy Spirit for guidance. What book do I need to focus on? So yeah, I do that all the time, and a lot of that when you are creative, and I'm sure you run into
Mm-hmm.
that too. When you are creative, and you know God is our creator, He gave us His creativity, and sometimes it just oozes out of us, and it's like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and but until we learn to focus, we're not going to get anything done.
So you have ideas waiting on the shelf for you, ideas that you've
Yeah,
started that you can say, okay, I
yeah,
can go back to this one now. I'm ready.
yes, yes.
And so that means that so there's nothing wrong if people if that's what's going on, as long as you keep moving forward.
Exactly, because the other thing is like once a writer gets activated and start writing, if you are a person that has other books inside of you, they're going to try to jump into whatever you're writing. It's like, let me jump into this book. Who knows? It might be another 20 years before she starts writing again. But then you have to be able to
Mm-hmm.
identify. And you know, I tell people to make a list of other titles or other information that comes forth, but it's not a good fit for this book. But just make a running list of things that come forth, ideals for future books.
So you just brought something up. You were talking about titles. When you're writing the book, do you always know what the title is going to be, or how does that happen?
Well, sometimes I do, and sometimes I tell writers just give your book a working title, and a working title will help to keep
Mm-hmm.
you focused. And if you get ideals that's not aligning up with your working title, then you probably need to set it aside for another book. But you can always adjust
Mm-hmm.
your title as you go along or as you finish your book.
So you know what, and I should know, but I don't know. Do you go around and talk with people? I mean, you could give talks on this to to classrooms. I mean, to people that are interested, because this is just such good information
Well,
to
thank
hear.
you.
To
I
learn this.
done some online sessions. I have done that. And
Mm-hmm.
I do have an invitation to talk to a group of people. I have done a writing conference in the community. And I'm certainly open to talking to people about writing because it's my passion. And not only my passion,
Okay.
it's my assignment to activate
Mm-hmm.
and get the writer stirring up. It's no coincidence that we woke up one day and it seemed like everybody in the world wanted to write a book. That's no coincidence. It's like I wanted to write a book 30 years ago. And I was telling people, I'm going to write a book, but it took me over 20 years. After a while, it got embarrassing because people will ask years to year, have you wrote your book yet? Oh, no, not yet. And then year 10, you wrote your oh, no, not yet. So when I finally wrote my book, everybody in the world writing a book. It's no big deal anymore. But God is trying
Uh-huh.
to level the field because there's so many books with messages that will lead people in the opposite
Mm-hmm.
direction, or so many books with dark messages. And God is trying to level the field because the book a person reaches to read can
Right.
determine their life in this world and their life in eternity. And so it's so
Mm-hmm.
important that Christians,
Mm-hmm.
especially Christians, wake up, arise, and write their books. And another thing you said, I wanted to say, it doesn't matter what age you are. The oldest
Mm-hmm.
person I think I helped publish was 84 years old. And God is sending me
See.
more and more seniors. In fact, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Eric Culpepper. He happens to be my bonus brother. What happened is like
Okay. A
a
bonus
friend,
brother. All right. I like that.
he's my bonus
Mm-hmm.
brother. It's like a friend of
Uh-huh.
mine. asked me to see his mother, a friend of his mother's, and she wanted to write a book. And she has some, medical issues, severe medical issues going on, chronic. And so I helped her to write this book of poetry. And so before it was done, she said, I found some more. Can we put them in the same book? And it's like, no, you need another book. So she wrote actually 2 books of poetry. And I
Mm-hmm.
would highly recommend them. They are
Wow.
awesome books. And so what happened is like she departed before we could complete a book signing. But she said, I don't know why God has me here. I think he wants me to complete my books because she was so ill. But she said, I think he wants me to complete my books. So she
Mm-hmm.
completed her books before she departed this world. So you're not too old.
I mean,
And
and wasn't that nice? You're not too old. And you were part of her assignment because she
yeah,
had an assignment to do that, and you
yeah,
helped her complete that assignment. She said, "Because I'm not leaving until I do these,
that's
my
where
book
she
of poetry."
go to Alberta,
Okay, but we can find it. Alberta Culpepper.
yes,
Culpepper.
yes, they're amazing books, and they talk about her time when she was growing up or back in the South, and some of the things
Mm-hmm.
that she experienced, the racism she experiences. She expresses it in poetry. And my grandson read one of the poems about young men and crime in prison. And he said, can I share this
Wow.
with my friend? It was so powerful. So I would strongly recommend that. But uh, through that connection, she just really embraced me as her daughter. And so when she left, I inherited a brother, Eric.
Mm-hmm. And he's a good one. He's a good one. I,
Yes,
I
he
really,
does.
really like him.
I appreciate
And
him.
yes, same here, same here. So that and that was why because he was saying she would be such an interesting person for you to talk with. And I said, okay. I said, well, then I want to meet her. And so I have to thank him for bringing you to us because this is a conversation that I haven't had with anybody as far as if you want to be an author, if you want to be a writer, because like you said, whether it's a book or whether it's for a magazine, whatever it is, how do you put paper, what is it, pen to paper or fingers to a keyboard and
Hmm.
put those words, because down on paper where they will be there and they can be there forever. So I have to ask you, since you're an author, you're a writer, do you ever think about when they start talking about banning books, certain books? What, as an author, how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel even a greater urgency for people to arise and write their books, because I wouldn't be surprised if they start burning books like they did
Mm-hmm.
years ago. I don't see that stopping because, like I said, Satan hates writers, and anything he can do to
Mm-hmm.
try to hinder the spread of positive news or good news. And, I know everybody's
Mm-hmm.
not a Christian author, but if you have a positive story to share, he doesn't want people to read anything positive. So anything he can do to ban that. And of course, the books that need to be banned, they'll be valuable to our children and
Mm-hmm.
distorting their thinking and their destinies.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So yeah, and it does it gives you the urgency and the passion to continue and do even more, because that's something that we're dealing with right now is, banning books around our history, things that are positive, things that are true, things that are
Yes,
true. And
exactly.
while some of the history may not be positive, it's our history nonetheless. And when that's taken from us, I mean, and that's what the enemy wants to have happen. And so I just, as you were talking and I was listening, I said, I have to ask her what she thinks about, what's going on with these book bannings, because it's a big deal right now. It
I
really
don't see
is.
it getting any
And
better.
you don't
I don't see it getting any
you don't see
better.
it getting better. Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. But we can just flood the market.
And that's scary to me.
They can't ban
It's
every
true.
book, so we need to just flood the market with our books. We need to arise and put
Right.
them out and stop walking in circles saying, I don't know, I don't know where to start. People go around and around those mountains, and I have some people have produced the most powerful books that have impacted people's lives significantly. And I really do believe
Mm-hmm.
that some of us are
Mm-hmm.
born to write, and when we are, God has someone waiting for our message. So we're actually hindering people moving forward by our reluctance to step into that call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And it's funny. And one of the things I'm a big advocate of are public libraries, and
Mhm.
really because there are so many, especially I think the people of color, blacks, that just don't feel comfortable going to some of our libraries. And I'm like, no, you need to come, embrace it. Pick up a book. There's something about picking that book up and reading it. Uh, and so
I
I've
love
been doing a lot of things, at our public library because I think it's just so important. Um, I don't know. It makes me feel pretty creative when I'm there too, but uh, I just really like public libraries and recognize. I mean, read. It's a cliche. Reading is fundamental, but it's so true. Reading, writing, those kinds of things. So I'm glad you expressed it. Right from the beginning, as this is your voice. This is your voice when you do these
that.
kinds of things.
Yeah, yeah.
So let me ask you this, Jeri. What have we not talked about that you're like, no, I need to put this out there as well? Is there something that we haven't talked about? Is there something that I haven't asked you that you want people to know?
I'm just looking because I have wrote down a couple of things.
Okay.
Before. Yeah, I just want people to know that you got what it takes. You don't have to know how to write a perfect sentence. Um, you just have to have the motivation to move forward. Now, I'm a writing coach now, and if you can't write a perfect sentence, you don't want to just connect with a publisher because people are
Mm-hmm.
happy to take your money and publish your books, um, and they may not be. You want to write a book that some people are going to read, not that people are going to
Right.
buy people to support you, but they're going to read and get value from. And so I'm a writing coach. So through the coaching process, I am going to help you to elevate your writing. If some people say, but I can't write well, you just have to be able to tell a story well. I had a woman that she couldn't write a good sentence, but she could tell a great story, and she
Mm-hmm.
produced an awesome book. And
Mm-hmm.
so don't let that stop you. And the other part is some people can write great sentences, but they can't write great books. And so just like I had to learn what editors would accept to publish, I was a good writer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Uh-huh.
I was a great writer. I said, why won't they accept this stuff? It's great. But I had to learn some things. So it's more to writing a book than writing. So, take time to invest in your skill, your art, because writing is an art like anything else. You wouldn't sit down and play a piano and play chopsticks and say, oh, I'm a piano player. It's like, no, you want to
Right.
take lessons and learn more. So that's what I challenge writers
Mm-hmm.
to do. And don't marry your draft. Some people write a draft and say, it's perfect. This is the way God gave it to me. Don't change a word. You have to understand that your draft is just the beginning. And you take that draft and you transform it into something that people are going to say, I couldn't put it down.
So, okay. You're putting a lot on my mind. I'm really thinking about and taking in what you're saying. So, you're the coach. Are you taking clients right now?
Yeah, I'm taking clients, and if you would like to schedule a consultation call to see if I have services that could benefit you,
Mm-hmm.
you can give me a call at 989-402-4721. And again, that's 989-402-4721. And I'll be happy to schedule a consultation call to see what your needs are and to see if I'm able to provide them.
Okay, that because that's what I was going to say is that people wanted to contact you for themselves as far as I think there's a writer in me. Um, how do we do that? And are you open for that? So I'm glad to hear that. And again, I want people to know if they want to purchase your books, you said they can go to Amazon, but I kind of like the name of your own personal library too. I thought that was what is it? I am a writer now.com.
Yes, yes.
And if somebody says that they think that they may be interested in moving along these lines, would you recommend that they get? I heard you mention a couple of books about getting started.
Yeah, let me get
Yeah, show us.
this book here. It's actually a workbook, Starting Points for New Writers, a guide to jumpstart your book. And in it, it has just
Okay.
basic information for you to get started on your book. It has pages for you to begin your chapters. It's a workbook, and it has writing tips and
Okay.
other information. And again, that's Starting Points
Okay.
for New Writers.
You see, I'm writing that down, don't you?
Were you born to
I'm
write?
writing that down.
You probably do so much writing, but in your just in your life, you probably do
I
so much writing,
Yeah, but it was not that kind.
but it's still
You
writing.
look,
That's okay.
I talk more.
Okay, and see, the Bible
Exactly.
said,
Exactly.
my tongue is the pen of a ready writer." And so the things that we talk about all the time are the things we just need to get it from the tongue to the pen.
Okay, you know what? See, you're the wrong person to talk to because I'm up here saying, no, I'm a talker. And you're like, you're the tongue is your pen. I said, you're not going to
That's
get
what
out
the
of that one,
Bible
huh?
says. And so
I
when
said,
people, when they ask, what should I write? It's like, what do you talk about? What you're passionate about? What are
mm-hmm.
you always testifying about and sharing with other people about? More than likely, that's your book.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. We're going to talk offline. We are going to talk some more. But I thank you so much for coming on today. Um, because like I said, I haven't had this kind of conversation with someone that's an author, that's a writer, and that coaches people and helps them get that writer that's inside of them out. And so I just think, that like I said, this could be a career path for many of us, and it's not one that I get to hear that's often pushed. We talk about go to school for all of these different things, but I don't hear us say you should be a writer. We just don't. I haven't heard that very often, and so I think sometimes we're not doing ourselves, and we're not giving our young people, we're not doing them justice when we don't talk about there's a writer in you, and you can do these other things because there's a lot that is in us, and like you said, God has put some things in us and given us gifts, and He wants us to bring those gifts out. They weren't for us to keep inside. They're not for us to keep inside. And so you're here to help those of us that do want to go in this direction. So I thank you for that. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your patience because I know we had a little thing getting started. I thank you for your patience and your time and sharing your expertise and your gift with us. And so I just want to tell everybody thank you all for tuning in. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I want to talk with you
You
some more. I really
too,
do.
Karen. Thank you so much for this
Hmm.
opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in today to Real Talk with Karen Weaver. Our special guest has been author, writer Jeri Darby, who has some other things that she does as well. I said I'm going to talk with you about some other things, but today we were here with this, and I want to say thank you. And I want you to come back again. And if you're doing some things, when you're doing any kind of classes or talks, if you would share that information. So if there's something we can share with other people to let them know, that would be wonderful.
Well, I will. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. And thank you all for tuning in to Real Talk with Karen Weaver. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.